law committee session. That was in here, and I remember them saying this is the least partisan committee.
So like my heaviest was during the pandemic, and I was like replacing the roof of my house.
Vice Chairman Power,
Present.
Representative Guthrie. Clerk is here, Representative Lascelles,
Here.
Representative Yokela,
Here.
Representative Kelly. Representative Elwood. Representative Brown,
Here.
Representative Cahill,
Here.
Representative Stavis,
Here.
Representative Tetro,
Here.
Representative Trey Levin, Representative Gilman,
Here.
Representative Majori,
Here.
Representative Mangaputi,
Here.
Representative Gallagher,
Here.
Representative Hicks,
Here.
Representative Howland,
Here.
and Representative Priest,
Here.
and the chairman.
I am present. Just so you know, in place of Representative Guthrie today, we have Representative Janine Nodder.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Let's get going on first executive session. House bill today will be number 83, relative to county commissioners' authority on county buildings.
Mr. Chairman?
Representative Lascelles.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to propose an amendment to HB 83, and it's 2023-0119H. And I'd move that the amendment be passed.
Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you,
Motion.
Representative Brown. Representative Lascelles, would you like to speak to your amendment or the amendment?
Yes, the amendment just clarifies the bill a little bit, and basically it increases the threshold for county government to dispose of property, including real estate. It increases that threshold from 5,000 to 25,000.
Thank you, Representative. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, we'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Okay, adopting amendment 2023-0119H. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Nodder,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Lascelles,
Yes.
Representative Yokela,
No.
Representative Kelly, Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Stavis,
Yes.
Representative Tatro,
Yes.
Representative Trey Levin, Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Mangaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
and Representative Priest.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Chairman,
Chairman, I'm sorry.
I'll vote yea.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. 18-1.
Do we have a further motion on 83?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I propose that we pass HB 83 OTP as amended.
Thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
I'd like to second that, Mr. Chairman.
So noted. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Nodder,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Lascelles,
Yes.
Representative Keller,
No.
Representative Kelly.
Yes.
Representative Elwood.
Yes.
Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Cahill.
Yes.
Representative Davis.
Yes.
Representative Tetro.
Yes.
Representative Trey 11. Representative Gilman.
Yes.
Representative Majori.
Yes.
Representative Megapudi.
Yes.
Representative Gallagher.
Yes.
Representative Hicks.
Yes.
Representative Howland.
Yes.
Representative Priest.
Yes.
And the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 18 to 1.
Okay, on that bill, Representative LaSalle will be writing the committee report. Since it was unanimous, is there any objection to it going on to the consent calendar?
Correction, it was technically not unanimous,
I'm
but I don't
sorry.
oppose.
You're right, 18 to 1. Is there any, you're not opposed? Okay, so it will go on the consent calendar. Sorry about that, Rep. All right, with that, we'll close the executive session on 83, and we'll open up the executive session on House Bill 87. And do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for House Bill 87 relative to county responsibility for capital building projects. I'm going to make.
I believe there might be an amendment you'd like to make a motion on first.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion on House Bill 87, which amends the responsibility, clarifies the county convention to raise the capital improvement threshold to $25,000. And it's 2023-0118H.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to that, Representative Brown?
This simply raises the capital threshold from 5,000 to 25,000 and clarifies the powers that are invested in the convention.
Thank you, Representative. Any discussions on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Here, adopt amendment 118H. Representative Power.
Yes.
Representative Nodder.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative LaSalle.
Yes.
Representative Keller.
No.
Representative Kelly. Representative Elwood.
Yes.
Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Cahill.
Yes.
Representative Davis.
Yes.
Representative Tetro.
Yes.
Representative Gilman.
Yes.
Representative Majori.
Yes.
Representative Megapudi.
Yes.
Representative Gallagher.
Yes.
Representative Hicks.
Yes.
Representative Howland.
Yes.
Representative Priest.
Yes.
And the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 18 to 1.
Do we have a further motion?
I'd like to pass the bill House Bill 87 as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on HB 87 as amended.
Vice Chairman of Power.
Yes.
Representative Nodder.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative LaSalle.
Yes.
Representative Keller.
No.
Representative Kelly. Representative Elwood.
Yes.
Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Cahill.
Yes.
Representative Davis.
Yes.
Representative Tetro.
Yes.
Representative Gilman.
Yes.
Representative Majori.
Yes.
Representative Megapudi.
Yes.
Representative Gallagher.
Yes.
Representative Hicks.
Yes.
Representative Howland.
Yes.
Representative Priest.
Yes.
And the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 18 to 1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And Representative Brown, you'll be writing the committee report on that, I understand.
Yes.
And since it was nearly unanimous, is there any objection to going on the consent calendar? Representative Manshpudi?
Procedural question. If there is just even one, the minority report is not necessary, right? It's unanimous consent, just one.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, close the hearing on House Bill, or the executive session on HB 87 as amended. Okay, now we'll open up the exec session on House Bill 95. And do I have a motion? Representative Power.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion on House Bill 95, inexpedient to legislate.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I would like to second that motion.
Thank you, Representative Cahill. Representative Power, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 95 enables municipalities to adopt bylaws to be able to regulate the notice required prior to any rent increases on residential properties, and also to regulate the allowable rental increases. We heard in testimony on this bill from several people that such a bill, if it were signed into law, would be akin to rent control. And we have seen in other municipalities across the country that rent control is a failed concept. For example, we heard in testimony that in 1994, Massachusetts repealed their rent control. Additionally, presently, municipalities do have the ability to work with developers to build the housing that's needed in their municipalities. And last year, we had a bill, 2022, Senate Bill 400, that makes provisions in that bill that became law to address the housing needs in our state. Additionally, we heard during the hearing that Senate Bill 47 established a commission to review affordability and the inventory of housing in our state. It may be prudent to wait to see the results of that commission. We also heard during the hearing that this bill would in fact hurt landlords who provide housing for people in our state by essentially regulating their incomes and their ability to be landlords and to be able to provide housing stock. And lastly, I might add that it was also, we heard in the hearing, in testimony, that it's a supply and demand issue, and that perhaps a better place to look would be at the zoning side of this issue. So for those reasons, I will be voting inexpedient to legislate.
Thank you, Representative. Any further discussion? Representative Gallagher?
So as a co-sponsor of this legislation, I support this legislation. It's enabling legislation, which means that municipalities can choose whether they want to adopt it or not. So if it doesn't make sense for communities, then the municipality won't adopt it and there will be no harm done. But if it does make sense, then they can adopt it. And there are many places where it is, in fact, needed. As for the case of Massachusetts being brought up, yes, they did repeal their rent control, and but they're actually considering bringing it back now, and that debate is still ongoing because so far repealing their rent control has led to rents going up too much, and now they need it back. As for the part about landlords, I think it's a mistake to consider them housing providers. I think a more accurate term would be housing deniers, because landlords hoard housing and then deny it to anyone who can't pay the rent to them. So we need, instead of putting landlords' concerns first, we should be putting tenants' concerns first. And tenants need to have rent that's payable. Landlords should not be making money off of other people's basic need for housing. That's just immoral. So it's for those reasons that I support this bill.
Thank you, Representative Gallagher. Representative Priest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm also in favor of this bill, and I come from District 17 or Ward 2 in the city of Manchester, where half of the housing in my district is apartments. And I saw firsthand in the last 3 years of massive evictions by predatory landlords in my area. And as you know, in this housing market, there isn't apartment buildings available for these people. And I know one case when I was out with the election campaign and door knocking, I met a man who lived in these apartments for 17 years. He was a veteran. He was 77 years old, and they basically increased his rent by 150%. He was not able to do that, and he was evicted from this home that he had established for 17 years. I agree with Mr. Gallagher. I think we're talking about a segment of our population, of our workforce, that cannot afford to buy housing. They have to rent housing. And we need a mechanism for communities to address this issue. And because it's not being addressed, they have no place to go right now to address their concerns and their problems. And again, this legislation is not setting rental prices. It's not dictating landlords what to do. It's basically enabling communities like the city of Manchester, if they choose to do so, to enact a rental board to address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Stavis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not support this bill, but the reasons for my not supporting it are different from what the Vice Chair articulated. I think that this is a conversation that we as a state and as a society badly need to have. I am the senior member on the planning board in Lebanon, New Hampshire, which is a city of approximately 15,000 people. We have, on average, 5 or 6 developers coming before our planning board at every meeting proposing apartments, 450 units, 500 units, 200 units, and they all want to take advantage of the state law that allows them a tax exemption or a tax stabilization for providing a certain percentage of affordable units. But that tax stabilization goes away. And after it goes away, those rents shoot up, and they shoot up far beyond market value, and the people who could previously have afforded to live in them are evicted. I have a friend who's 82 years old. She lives by herself. She has lived in a 1-bedroom apartment for 13 years. Her rent was just increased by 60%. And she now has to go out in the dead of winter by herself looking for another place to live in Lebanon, which is well nigh impossible. So I do not support this bill because I believe it is too blunt an instrument, and I believe that this conversation needs to be carried forward, perhaps in a series of meetings between our committee and the special committee on housing. I don't want to let this issue go but I do not support this bill in its current form. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Yeah, Representative Manjapudi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am in support of the bill partly because of the need for housing, and it's a crisis. And one of the testifying person was from Legal Assistance for Housing Attorney. I come from Nashua, which has, it's a city of 90,000 people, and homelessness or houseless individuals, we are trying to provide shelter, temporary shelter, and transitional homes and stuff. How do we transition them out of that place? So I understand this is not an answer to all the it's not the only solution for the problem we face in the state and in cities and communities of homeless, houseless individuals. And it's not a crime. Being houseless or being poor is not a crime. So we can't treat it that way. So at least this creates the conversation. So at least we can address it. I totally agree with my colleague, Representative Stavis, about continuing the dialogue, work from all angles. And with that spirit, I will be voting against the ITL.
Further discussion, Representative Gallagher?
So just to follow up on what Representative Manjapudi said, yeah, I agree with her that being unhoused is not a crime on the part of the person who is unhoused. I would argue, though, that it's a crime on the part of society for failing to house them. And if not a legal crime, at least it's the moral equivalent of a crime. And I agree with her that we shouldn't be criminalizing homelessness, but instead be criminalizing the people who refuse to provide housing for those who need it.
Representative Howland?
So I understand the concern, particularly right now in my district. The vacancy rate in apartments is less than 0.5%, and in a healthy market, it's about 5%. And so, the need to build more units is really paramount. And while I understand the concern, and it was really compelling as we've heard about people whose rent has increased, I don't think you can control the rent if you have such a low supply. If we had reached the 5% healthy market, I could understand, and there still was these excessive rent increases occurring, I could understand the need then for municipalities to step in and begin to regulate it. But under current conditions, I think that this will be counter to us developing the housing stock that we need to get to that point. And so as a result, I'm going to vote inexpedient to legislate.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Hicks?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with my colleagues, Representative Stavis and Representative Howland, that this is not the answer and actually has a potential to prevent future supply, which will exacerbate the problem of people not having housing. Thank you.
Representative Gallagher?
So, in response to the issue of supply, I do agree that supply is an issue, but we have other bills that will help increase supply, and I think we should pass those as well. And if we pass those as well, then any supply concerns about this bill will be negated, which will just leave the positive effects of giving security to renters who need protection from unreasonable rent increases.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call a roll, please.
Okay, the motion is ITL on HB 95. Vice Chairman Power?
Yes.
Representative Nader?
It's Nodder, yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative LaSalle,
Yes.
Representative Yokella,
Yes.
Representative Kelly. Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Davis,
Yes.
Representative Tetro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Magaputi,
No.
Representative Gallagher,
No.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
No.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 16-3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 3 noes. Objection to going on to the consent calendar?
Yes.
Thank you. Will there be a committee report, I assume?
Yes, and I will write it.
That'll be from Representative Priest. And from the Republican side, I will be writing the committee report on that. Is this regarding this bill? Say again? Okay, Representative Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you just repeat the timetable, the deadline for the reports for today's session?
Thank you for reminding me, I was going to say that right after this bill. We'll close the executive session on this bill. The clerk has asked, due to a lack of number of bills for our first House session next Thursday, as if anything that we can get out of here today onto the calendar for next week, he would be much appreciated. So what I'm going to ask, we should be done fairly early. I'm going to ask everybody who is writing a committee report today to remain here and give me that report before you leave. That way we can get it onto the calendar and it can be part of next Thursday's House session. Any questions on that? Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, we will go ahead and open up executive session on House Bill 422 FN. And
Mr. Chair, I have a motion.
Representative Gilman, you have a motion. Representative Priest, could you turn off your mic, please?
I vote to ITL this bill.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Representative Mangiaputi seconds the motion. And would you like to speak to your motion, Representative Gilman?
Yes, this bill, while well-intentioned, leaves a lot of questions. One, for the registry, there is no mechanism, no infrastructure to start this new kind of registry. 2, we don't know what kind of units or how there's no breakdown of whether it's seasonal renting, short-term renting, how many units are renting. Let's see. We don't know what happens with a unit that has services provided, such as heat and hot water or electricity. There's no way to enforce it. And there's no breakdown, no columns for the different information that we need. I feel that this is not ready, and the Registry of Deeds was against it because they don't have the infrastructure to complete it.
Thank you, Representative. Is there further discussion on this bill? Representative Park?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I might also add that this bill is an unfunded mandate and therefore is repugnant to the New Hampshire Constitution, Part 1st, Article 28A.
Thank you, Representative. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
ITL HB 422. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Nutter,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative LaSalle,
Yes.
Representative Yokella,
Yes.
Representative Kelly. Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Davis,
Yes.
Representative Tatro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Mangaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
No.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 18-1.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Is there any opposition to this bill going on to the consent calendar? Seeing none, we'll close the exec session on House Bill 422. Yes, report will Representative Gilman, you'll be making the report on this? Thank you. Okay, that closes the exec session on House Bill 422. Now we're going to open up the exec session on House Bill 98. And do I have a motion?
I motion ITL.
And do we have a second?
A second.
Representative Elward seconds that motion. Representative Yokela, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes. Since the date change is unworkable by the DRA, I think that this bill is not ready for prime time at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
ITL on HB 98. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Nada,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Salas,
Yes.
Representative Keller,
Yes.
Representative Kelly, Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Stavis,
Yes.
Representative Tatro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Mangaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 19-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Opposition to the consent calendar? Seeing none, it'll go on the consent calendar. Thank you. We close the exec session on HB 98 and open exec session on House Bill 295. Do I have a motion? Representative Stavis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move to retain House Bill 295.
Do we have a second? Representative Mangaputi, second.
And I'd like to speak to my motion.
Representative, go ahead.
I think that the intent of this bill is positive, and it would be a good thing, a very good thing, and would advance the cause of transparency in government across our state for all town councils and school boards and other public bodies to have live streaming or video available for their meeting processes. And I see that we also have an amendment that just came in today, which adds, in addition to school boards and budget committees, public body meetings and hearings, which is a vast improvement on the original bill because it's a catchment for all public bodies, so increases transparency. I do have some concerns, though, about what my colleague, Representative Power, described as unfunded mandates. We heard testimony from people in towns that do not have the kind of broadband access that this legislation would require them to purchase and install and maintain and update. And so I'm concerned about those towns, and I'm concerned about, in effect, levying a cost burden on them they may not be able to sustain. But I think because the intent of the bill is a positive intent, could yield very beneficial results for New Hampshire citizens, I would like to retain the bill, work on it further with the sponsor and with others, and make it ready for passage. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion, Representative Power.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to echo some of the points that my colleague just made, and to reiterate the point that as the bill is written, as written, it does violate the New Hampshire Constitution, Part 1, Article 28A, as an unfunded mandate. Yes, many towns do not have broadband capabilities at this time, and such a bill, if it were to become law, would require equipment purchases to be made by municipalities. So this bill is not ready.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Manjapudi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do agree with both of my colleagues who made the comment about it. It is a good intention. It will open up the democracy or the public debate and participation, but it's one way in terms of it's a passive observing, and there's no way in a town meeting where the voters come and vote, there's no way of voting back electronically. They can participate by watching it or public testimony, but not because that's not available in our like with the RSA 91, which would allow for electronic or virtual participation. That's not in existence right now. So this is a good bill, needs work, and I would fully support the retaining of it and work on it to increase the participation.
Further discussion, Representative Yukela.
Thank you. I kind of wish that this motion was made after a discussing of the amendment to understand why the amendment doesn't reach the concerns of the people. Since it hasn't been proposed, then we can't really discuss the merits and demerits of the amendment. And I think that is kind of, I think that this motion is kind of premature. So thank you.
Further discussion, Representative Hicks.
So, seeing that, thank you, Mr. Chair. If we are to retain this, I think that the point of increasing the visibility of our public meetings is paramount. We need more people to see our meetings. We need full transparency in government. And so whatever we can do, including in researching how to fund this to help our smallest towns, I would be in support of that, because I think that is only going to serve the people of New Hampshire by allowing them to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Gallagher.
So about the or minor point / question about process. So if we retain it, we'll still be able to pick up the amendment again after it comes out of being retained, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so I do think the amendment deserves consideration, but I don't really see why that's an argument against retaining it, though, since we can still discuss the amendment after the bill comes back from retaining.
Further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll, please? And state the motion.
HB 295, the motion is to retain the bill. Vice Chairman Power,
No.
Representative Nada,
No.
clerk votes no. Representative LaSalle,
No.
Representative Yokella,
No.
Representative Kelly, Representative Elwood,
No.
Representative Brown,
No.
Representative Cahill,
No.
Representative Davis,
Yes.
Representative Tetro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Magapudi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
No.
Motion fails 10 to 9, 9 to 10.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have a further motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to make a motion to ITL on HB 295.
Thank you, Representative Cahill. Second?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to second that.
Okay, Representative Power seconds the motion. You'd like to speak?
Yes.
Representative Elward?
Um,
Could you just hit your mic there, Representative Elward?
I'm making the motion to ITL because it violates Article 1, 28A, the non-funded mandate.
Thank you. Further discussion? Representative Yukela?
Thank you. I don't believe that that 91A is a violation of 28A, and this is just an extension of 91A in making things public. I would say that actually we need to be, open and transparent is another part of the Constitution. And so in that sense, it is required by the Constitution that they be open and transparent. And we are just defining what open and transparent means. So therefore, it is required that they pay to be open and transparent. And so it's not an unfunded mandate. It's required in the Constitution that they be that way. So I disagree with that argument. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Further comment? I'm just going to make one quick comment on this. While the overall intent on transparency, I think, is very good, the bill itself and then a last-minute amendment is not ready. My thought would be to come back next year with something that's a little bit more tight. As a committee, and just for future references, I'm not a huge fan of operating on the fly. Representative Yokella mentioned a last-minute amendment on this. I know occasionally we're going to see that with a few minor word changes, but it's best when you have a major amendment to try to get that to the committee as soon as possible. So for those reasons, I do believe we should ITL it. I'm not opposed to more transparency in government. Obviously, everybody wants that, but this bill here does not do it in the proper way. Thank you. Further comments? Yeah, no?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only thing I would add, which is to add to what you just said, I agree with everything. The town of Northampton has a very vigorous and robust system to broadcast, and I think that should be, would hope that could be in every town. But even the amendment, which we just received, says the bill takes effect 60 days after passage. Had we considered that, it would have been absolutely impossible for any community to be able to build these things in. For instance, Northampton had to negotiate that through our cable franchise contract, which took the better part of a year. So I agree with the intent 100%. It just needs a little work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Representative Gallagher.
So
Hold on. Representative Elward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to say that on line 14, where they're talking about archive. Oh, what are we doing?
Yes, we're not talking about an amendment. We've got a motion on the floor to ITL the bill itself.
The amendment hasn't been introduced.
Oh, very sorry, misunderstood.
Representative Gallagher.
So I think regardless of whether the amendment was made last minute or not, or I do think we at least deserve to be able to talk about it and have a separate vote on it. So I will be opposing the motion to ITL, not because I think we should pass it, but I think we should just have a chance to make a motion on the amendment first before doing anything else with it.
Thank you, Representative. Seeing no more hands, we'll ask the clerk to state the motion and call the roll.
HB 295, and the motion is ITL. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Notter,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Lasalle,
Yes.
Representative Yokella,
No.
Representative Kelly, Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Stavis,
No.
Representative Tetro,
No.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
No.
Representative Mangaputi,
No.
Representative Gallagher,
No.
Representative Hicks,
No.
Representative Howland,
No.
Representative Priest,
No.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 10-9.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'm assuming this will then go on to the regular calendar. Majority report, Representative Cahill, you'll be writing?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Representative Stavis, the minority report. Thank you. And with that, we will close the hearing on HB 290, or the exec session on HB 295. And we will now open up exec session on HB 416. And do I have a motion? Representative Power.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move inexpedient to legislate on House Bill 416.
Do we have a second on that? Representative Elwood?
I second. Second.
Thank you. Representative Power, would you like to speak to your motion? Representative Elwood, mic, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill pertained to restrictions or prohibitions on the membership on certain local land use boards. Unfortunately, the hearing was very brief, as there was no input on that bill. It was just introduced by, I believe, a committee member here, and so the text of the bill was interesting, and the committee was unable to ask questions of the prime sponsor, and additionally, there were no people present to provide testimony. Therefore, the committee was unable to make an informed decision with regards to this bill. So my motion is ITL.
Thank you, Representative. Further comments? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
HB 416, the motion is ITL. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Notter,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Lasalle,
Yes.
Representative Yokella,
Yes.
Representative Kelly, Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Stavis,
Yes.
Representative Tetro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Mangaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
Yes.
ITL passes 19-0.
Unanimous. We'll go on the consent calendar unless there's an objection, which I see none. That closes the exec session on House Bill 416. And Representative Power will be writing the committee report on that one. We're going to open up the exec session on House Bill 77. Do I have a motion? Representative Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion that House Bill 77L relative to the compensation of county delegates is inexpedient to legislate.
Thank you, Representative. Do I have a second?
I second.
Representative Priest seconds. Representative Howland, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill also was not represented by the prime sponsor, and therefore, again, we didn't have a chance to hear the intent of the bill, and there was no one as well to speak to it, so it really hindered our ability to make an informed consent. Additionally, we felt that the 75% increase in each delegate 75% increase to be paid for each delegate for each day was excessive. It would have an undue burden on county taxpayers.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion? I see none. Ask the clerk to call the roll.
HB 77, ITL. Vice Chairman Power.
Yes.
Representative Nodder.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Lascelles.
Yes.
Representative Yokella.
Yes.
Representative Kelly. Yes. Representative Elwood.
Yes.
Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Cahill.
Yes.
Representative Davis.
Yes.
Representative Tetro.
Yes.
Representative Gilman.
Yes.
Representative Majori.
Yes.
Representative Megapudi.
Yes.
Representative Gallagher.
Yes.
Representative Hicks.
Yes.
Representative Howland.
Yes.
Representative Priest. Yes. And the chairman.
Yes.
ITL passes 19-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Again, a unanimous vote. Any opposition to the consent calendar? I see none. It'll go on the consent calendar, and that closes the exec session on House Bill 77. I'm assuming Representative Holland will be writing the committee report?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, let's open up the exec session now on House Bill 188. I'm sorry, 184. I don't know where I got that. 184. Do I have a motion? Representative Brown.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to ITL House Bill 184 relative to public notice requirements for zoning board of adjustment hearings.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Representative Elwood seconds the motion. Representative Brown, would you like to speak?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the issue really is that a lot of people in the state do not have access to the internet, and we feel that it's better to post it both online and continue to publish it in newspapers.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion? Representative Hicks?
Well, I support the motion. I do think that at some point we are going to have to modernize and understand that not everybody also has newspapers, and there are public libraries available for people to visit, to go on to websites, probably more cheaply than it is to get a subscription to the newspaper. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hicks. Further discussion? Representative Priest?
Is that better? Okay. Thank you so much, Josh. I think it's very important that we try to protect, our freedom of speech. And one of the ways we're doing it is to protecting our local newspapers in this state. And by putting in these requirements for public hearings is a source of income for them. And I think we should do everything we can to support them and to keep them alive as long as possible. And that's why I am voting the way I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion? Representative Elwood?
I don't believe this is about newspapers and income. I believe this RSA regarding notice is about due process, and it is also about standing. So the term abutter can mean, for purpose of certified mail, those properties abutting the subject property. But then we have a further definition of abutter, which means people who can prove that there is going to be an impact on their property, and it's presumptuous to assume that everyone lives within a local newspaper distribution area. So I'm opposed to the bill. I do believe that we need to protect legal notice and do it right, and this bill is not it. Thank you.
Representative Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I hope to see this bill come back in some iteration at some future date, because in the last session, we in fact did bring up into the 20th, maybe even the 21st century, some bills about public noticing of meetings and using electronic media, etc., in addition to newspapers, which are failing all over the state. And so I hope that at some point, perhaps this committee might be instrumental in crafting a bill that unifies all of the various public notice requirements in the RSAs pertaining to different public bodies, so that there is less confusion, so that it doesn't become an unfunded mandate. When the New Hampshire Constitution was written, I do not believe that every town in New Hampshire had a daily newspaper. So times change, circumstances change, and I do hope to see this bill back again sometime, and we could do some really good work on it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. I'm going to make a comment quickly here, and maybe that'll eliminate the need for prolonged discussions. I've spoken with the prime sponsor. He understands that the bill needs some refining, and I believe he will most likely bring another bill that is refined back next year. Is there further discussion on this? Representative Gilman.
I had a question, but I think you just answered it.
Further discussion? Representative Power.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My concern with regards to this bill is the in lieu of publication in paper. I would remind everybody that in order to access internet, be it under your own roof or in a public place, one needs both electricity and internet, and mine's been down for several days.
Thank you, Representative. Further comments? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
HB 184, motion is ITL. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Nutter,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Salas,
Yes.
Representative Keller,
No.
Representative Kelly. Yes. Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Davis,
Yes.
Representative Tatro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Magaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 18-1.
Without objection, this will go on the consent calendar. Seeing no objection, it will go on the consent calendar. And Representative Brown will be writing the committee report on it. Is that right? Oh, no. Actually, I'll be writing the committee report on that one. Sorry about that. Okay, that closes the exec session on House Bill 184. We'll open up the final bill, House Bill 197, executive session relative to the proration of property tax exemptions. Do we have a motion, Representative Maggiore?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move ought to pass on this beautiful bill, House Bill 197.
Okay, do I have a second?
Oh, wait,
Representative
oh, Mr. Chair, I've made an error.
amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Chair, I move ought to pass on the amendment for House Bill 197, which I handed out to everybody and didn't give a copy to myself, so I apologize for not having the number, which is number 2023-0057.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Representative Priest seconds. Would you like to speak to your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to speak to the amendment. When the bill was adopted, when the bill was proposed, a concern came up that if the bill were to pass, each community would have to re-adopt all the provisions under the RSA. The amendment allows for the bill to pass without having to re-adopt in every single community.
Further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, and Representatives Maggiore and Priest, turn off your mics, please. Thank you.
Okay, HB 197, adopt the amendment 0057H. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Notter,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative LaSalle's,
Yes.
Representative Yokella,
Yes.
Representative Kelly. Yes. Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Davis,
Yes.
Representative Tetro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Mangaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Motion passes 19-0.
Do I have a further motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I would like to move OTPA on House Bill 197.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Representative Priest seconds the motion. Would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to speak. I appreciate that. The intent of House Bill 197 is to bring equity. It was bring equity to those who are paying taxes in their communities. This was brought to me by the assessor in the town of Hudson, who I trust all the time, and has testified before this committee many, many times in similar fashion, which his interest is to just make sure that there is equity. He discovered that in this instance, without this bill, folks might be paying less of their fair share. This bill, again, brings that into line, and that is the full intent of the bill.
Thank you, Representative. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
HB 197, ought to pass as amended. Vice Chairman, sorry about that. Vice Chairman Power,
Yes.
Representative Notter,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative LaSalle's,
Yes.
Representative Yokella,
Yes.
Representative Kelly,
Yes.
Representative Elwood,
Yes.
Representative Brown,
Yes.
Representative Cahill,
Yes.
Representative Davis,
Yes.
Representative Tetro,
Yes.
Representative Gilman,
Yes.
Representative Majori,
Yes.
Representative Mangaputi,
Yes.
Representative Gallagher,
Yes.
Representative Hicks,
Yes.
Representative Howland,
Yes.
Representative Priest,
Yes.
and the chairman.
Yes.
Passes 19-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. If there's no objections, this will go on to the consent calendar. Seeing no objections, it will do that. I'm going to close the exec session on HB 197. I'm assuming Representative Majori will be writing the committee report.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'm going to remind everybody, if you are writing a committee report for something we did today, you need to have that to me shortly, please, as quickly as possible. We'd like to get this on the calendar for next Thursday. So I see a smiling individual in the back of the room, so I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Other than that, are there any other questions, comments from the committee? Seeing none, we'll see you all here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for some public hearings. Thank you.